Hi and welcome. I'm Antoinette Trimble, a registered architect, and I'm passionate about helping other architects not just do great work, but be recognised and valued for it.
Hi, I'm Allison, Tsao, an organization development practitioner. I bring a people and communication lens to the way professionals show up in their work, and that very much includes how they communicate their own worth. This video is part of a series developed in partnership with the Architects Registration Board of Victoria.
Today's topic is promoting your value as an architect, and we're covering 3 areas: how you balance self-orientation in a professional relationship, how to set healthy boundaries, and how to communicate the genuine value that an architect brings to a project.
Let's get into it. So, Antoinette, I want to start with a concept I call self-orientation. It describes where you place your attention and energy in a professional relationship. Are you oriented primarily toward the client's needs or your own?
I'm guessing neither extreme is ideal.
Exactly. So when you're over-oriented toward the client, constantly deferring, agreeing, absorbing requests without pushback, you slip into what I'd call the doormat end of the spectrum. And the client may like it in the short term, but it actually erodes your professional authority over time. And then there's the other end, being over-oriented towards yourself. So focusing almost entirely on your own vision, your approach, and that's where the relationship starts to break down.
I've seen this in practice. An architect who agrees to every extra thing, bit of reworking for free, never raises a formal fee adjustment when scope has clearly changed, never challenges the brief, goes against their better judgment because the client wants it.
Exactly. The sweet spot is balanced self-orientation, where you genuinely attend to the client's needs and you also hold your professional position with confidence. You're collaborative, but you bring your expertise as an equal, not as a subordinate.
In practice, that might sound like something like, I hear that you'd prefer not to get initial costing to save time, but I want to be transparent about the risk that creates to your budget. My recommendation is we don't skip it, and here's why. So in that example, you're listening, you're explaining, but you're not just rolling over.
In a professional context, what does it actually mean then to set a healthy boundary?
Well, I suppose it's being clear about what you will and won't do, what is and isn't within scope, and what those consequences are if those limits are exceeded. It's professional clarity, not personal conflict.
A lot of architects avoid setting limits for fear of damaging the relationship or damaging the chance for flow-on work. But boundaries build trust. When a client knows exactly where they stand with you, they feel more secure, not less.
A common example is if you get a phone call after hours. So setting a clear boundary might sound something like, I'm available Monday to Friday during business hours for calls, but otherwise just send me an email. Said once clearly at the start of a project, that's like a boundary.
And you don't need to justify it at length. You're not asking permission. You're informing the client of how you work. The framing isn't, I hope that's okay. It's, this is how I work, and it means you'll always get my full attention during those hours. Now, let's talk about how you communicate what you're actually worth as a registered architect, because this is an area where the profession as a whole tends to undersell itself.
It's true. When a client asks, why should I use a registered architect rather than a draftsperson or a builder? Architects actually need a clear, confident answer, and there are 2 key points. The first is professional accountability. In Victoria, registered architects operate under the Architects Act, with legal and ethical obligations other building professionals are not subject to in the same way. So when a client engages a registered architect, they know they are getting a professional who's appropriately qualified and is subject to this code of professional conduct, as well as sanctions for failing to meet these standards. These protections are a tangible benefit. The second is the breadth of what architects do. A registered architect is not just a designer, they're a trained professional. So that includes project manager, technical expert, planner, contract administrator, and a creative problem solver. They're basically the glue that holds the entire project together, and that coordination adds increased protection for clients from cost blowouts, delays, disputes, but also quality. The architect's fee is not just a design cost, it's an investment in risk management at all stages of the project, from concept to construction.
So that all makes sense. But how do you say that without it feeling like a sales pitch?
Right, well, I would make it very specific to the client's project. So for a residential client, you might say, on a project like yours, offering a full service beyond DA, I can coordinate the engineer, brief the heritage consultant, do all the coordination around planning and regulatory requirements, as well as administer the contract, which includes managing progress payments, variations. so that they don't have to. And also, so nothing falls through the cracks once you're on site. And that's exactly where a lot of residential projects get into trouble without an architect involved.
And what about a commercial client?
Well, I think with a commercial client, I would probably frame it more around risk and program. So you might say, in a commercial project like this with a fixed lease commencement date, high expectations of quality, having a registered architect means someone is accountable for making sure the contractor delivers to the specification and maintains the design intent. And that accountability is part of what you're engaging us for.
And this connects back to where we started, talking about your work with confidence, framing your fee as an investment rather than a cost. And none of that is arrogance. It's appropriate professional self-respect. And the more consistently you communicate that, the more it shapes how clients perceive and engage with you.
So to recap, find your balance, be genuinely attentive to your client's need, and hold your professional position with equal confidence, neither deferring nor dismissing.
Set healthy limits early, clearly, and without apology. Scope, availability, process, make these things explicit at the start of an engagement.
And know your value proposition, your ability to add value all the way through construction, and communicate it specifically and confidently.
Thanks for watching. This is the final video in the Architects Registration Board of Victoria's education series.
We hope you took away some concrete learnings that you can apply in your practice.
We are CPD for Architects. If you enjoyed these videos and want to continue learning with us, please log on to cpdforarchitects.thinkific.com to view our courses and follow us on Instagram at cpdforarchitects_AU.
Thanks for watching.